Hi guys, I'm doing another voiceover of me painting. This time I changed the angle so you guys can see better. And I have like all the lights in the room on, but some reason it's still dark. It's winter where I am, so it's kind of a bluish, grayish haze with the windows open and stuff. So I really apologize for that, and I'm gonna try and make these as best quality as I possibly can. I started this out with red coloring pencils. I mean, they're watercolor pencils, so when I add more water and paint to it, they're gonna blend in nicely. I'm starting off with the Pearl Essence paint because it really just helps me to get an idea of what I want to do with coloring. But when I add like the real watercolor paint, and I don't have to like map that out in a sketchbook or go over with watercolor pencils and try and like blend that out on top of the paint, so it's really nice. I'm using a lot of yellows and oranges as like a skin tone base just because that's a safe ground for me as an undertone, whether I'm doing lighter skin or darker skin. For this one, I am doing a lighter skin look just because I've been so focused on darker skins. I really want to do like a wider range so it's not just like one thing. I'm also playing around with different facial positions and different body positions. I want more profiles and three-quarter people involved. I don't want it to just be the standard portrait because I feel like those are just a little bit too easy for me to go to as far as like a comfort zone. And I really want my artwork to be more interesting and dynamic. I don't want it to just be the same thing over and over again, just like different people and slightly different styles. Um, so I really wanted to make sure that each girl has like their own personality, their own theme, their own energy about them. So I don't necessarily have like a particular style because I'm always learning, I'm always growing, I'm always looking for ways to improve myself. And as I continue to learn and grow, and like, there are things that I'll keep, there are things that I will get rid of over time. So, if you see that in my work, that is why I am using some ugly shades of like this greenish gray as like a highlight, but it works. That's why it's like barely used in my palette because I hardly ever use it because it just never looked appealing to me. But when it comes to getting the highlights to blend with grays and blacks, it really just works out well for me in terms of like making things look a little bit more dynamic. I'm not sure if I want to make this like a leather jacket or a black shirt that she's wearing or whatever. I'm not sure if I want to like try and like capture that texture of a leather jacket in the watercolor painting yet. I just like really wanted to have fun with this piece, there so it's not really meant to be like proportionate or art realism. It's really just a fun piece. I try and stay away from art realism. I just like to work from imagination, and like if I do use a reference, I'm using a series of references to kind of get the idea out to see how I want to do the lighting and angles and such, right? But then I kind of like put it away and go my own way with it. And once I start drawing, it just kind of takes on its own form as well as painting. I'm using like a brick texture for her choker. I've never seen that before, but I just thought it would be interesting to look at, and I saw that as like a cool, grungy thing to do. So if you're wondering where I got that from, I just thought it was a cool thing to add because I never seen that in a choker or any piece of jewelry before. It's usually like the background of a photo shoot if you do something punk or grungy. It's like a brick wall or graffiti or something. I just like wanted to incorporate that in her look. I'm really working her cheekbones really hard because I'm doing that highlighter glazed donut rainbow look on her cheeks, and I want them to be defined. I'm using a lot of yellows, a lot of oranges. I use some greens and blues in her skin tone, but also like really added that into the highlight. So if you're wondering why I'm using like so many different skin tones, I mean so many different colors to make one skin tone, that's what a lot of portrait artists do. They tend to use like all the colors of the rainbow to make the skin tone look more dynamic and interesting, but you wouldn't necessarily be able to tell by looking that those colors are involved because they're just so well blended and mixed. I didn't use a mixing palette for this one. I rarely ever do that. I'm just so used to being able to test things out and see how they work, and be used to how being used to like knowing how things are gonna look when I add different colors and different textures and different brushes, and it depends on how much water and paint that I'm using. I tend to layer lightly and then go over it. So if you see me jumping around a lot, it's because I paint one area, let it dry, and then while that area is drying, I'll just work on something else instead of, just sort of sitting there in silence waiting on paint to dry. And I can just do so much more with that. I'm sorry if you guys hear the dogs barking in the background. I live with 4 dogs, and I think the mailman is here. It's like the middle of the day, so they get pretty excited when the mail is here. I hope that is not too prevalent in the video, but we'll see. I did make the volume like really high because I didn't want to shout, but then I also want to make sure that you guys can hear me clearly, and I can speak clearly. Like I can speak in a way that you guys can understand what I'm saying, and you don't have to turn up the volume on your headphones super loud. And I wanted to make sure there wasn't a whole lot of white noise in the video. And yeah, so I'm making her chin very defined just because I'm doing a lighter skin tone, and if I didn't define it, it would just blend in with everything else, and I just don't like that. I know some artists say, oh, don't define things, let the viewer eyes do some of the work, but I just don't like that look. Personally, it's just not my thing. I gave her shaved sides, and I just wanted her to have a full on mohawk, and I like the way mohawks look from the side and how interesting they can all be. I gave her multicolored hair. She has blue, green, red, orange, and it's just really mixed in. I'm sorry if you guys hear my phone ringing. I will answer that later. Doing a voiceover for my video, and I just don't want to have to try and edit that out. I will get back to them shortly. I kind of skipped over a lot of parts because this painting took me about 4 hours to do. So if you see moments like that where I'm working on one piece and all of a sudden it looks like it's about done, I'm just going over her hair with the Pearlescence. It's not very pigmented, but it adds a little bit of shine there to make it a little bit more interesting, so that it's not super duper dull and flat. And I just like the way that I just wanted to add color, but I still wanted to keep the texture involved. So that's pretty much what I'm doing right now. I kind of messed up on her ears, but I still like it. So this one will be available as an original. I also have prints for download, and I'll use it to make other things that you guys can download digitally as well. I have planner stickers and postcards. If you guys do mixed media work or travel, you want some artsy travel cards or whatever. And I'm just as you can see, the colors that I'm using are not very pigmented. They're just, they're adding a little bit here and there, but not necessarily taking away from the painting. And she has a punky style that's really colorful and not super dark. Here's a close-up of the hair, the makeup, the skin, the jewelry, and the textures involved. Thank you guys so much for watching. Please subscribe, and share if you want, and I will try and add as many videos as I possibly can this year, because I know I didn't upload a lot last year, but I'm trying to change that. And I think by adding art videos like these helps out a lot, because I'm not constantly searching for content to post, I can just post my art videos and have you guys watch me paint or watch me draw or whatever. I keep updates of like my paintings on my second Etsy shop. It's called Spooky Dark Girls. It just like has like alternative women of color like these, and they all have their own different styles and different looks and their own energy about them, different skin tones and hair types and hair textures and colors. And if you're just like interested in that, then I highly recommend you check it out. I also have an Instagram where I post most of this stuff. Please like, subscribe, and share. Thank you guys so much for watching. This is the end of the video.